Hi, everyone. Good evening. This has just been an incredible night to be a part of, and I'm so proud and humbled to be here. So my name is Gwen. I'm a social worker. I'm with the Alzheimer's Association. We are the leading voluntary health organization in Alzheimer's care, support, and research. Our mission is to lead the way to end Alzheimer's and all other forms of dementia. Our local chapters across the nation provide care and support programs within their communities. Together, we offer more than 4,500 support groups in person and connect thousands of people across the globe through ALS Connected, our online community. We deliver 20,000 education programs annually and offer print educational resources in over 17 languages. In addition to our care and support programs, we accelerate research. We also advocate on the state and federal levels to increase policies that support families who are facing Alzheimer's and the other forms of dementia. We couldn't do this work without amazing volunteers like Jody Dayter, who, firsthand have experienced this disease and are willing to help others and be the light, in this dark disease. So without further ado, Jody.
Hi, everybody. I want to thank you all for being here, and I want to thank you for allowing me to share my mom with you. My story is about a journey that I was lucky enough to take with my mom, and it's a story about always trying to find the light in the darkness. Our story begins with a phone call from my mom, really upset, saying, "I don't remember how to use the remote. I can't get it to use or do anything, and I think something's wrong." So we made an appointment with her family doctor, and he performed something called the Folstein test, which measures cognitive impairment. So with my mom showing signs of dementia, he recommended that we go see a neurologist and have brain scans done. So we went and did that, and a couple weeks later, we went together to get the results. And we were put into this small, white, sterile room. And the doctor came in and, without much empathy or sympathy or really any bedside manner, said, "Your test came back. You have Alzheimer's, and I recommend you see a neurologist that specializes in Alzheimer's and dementia." My mom was absolutely stoic and strong in that moment, and I was astonished. But we stood up and we walked out of the door and turned the corner, and my mom's legs went out from underneath her, and my heart broke for her. The weight of the diagnosis in that moment was just too much to bear. And so was my realization that love couldn't solve everything. So later that year as a family, we all realized that my mom was struggling with everyday tasks, forgetting to take medications, not eating properly, faltering with her bills. Once I knew my mom needed someone to be there, every part of my mind, body, and soul wanted to be there for her. So I quit my job, left my apartment and friends, and I moved back home. Well, this was a lot of change in my life for my mom, having her grown daughter moving back home and interrupting her daily life. It was even more of an adjustment for her. Two women who've been running their own households by themselves for years in the same house. That came with many challenges. I can't tell you how many times my mom said to me, "I don't need any help. I've been doing this for years. I don't need your help." And I would always tell her, "Mom, you're an amazing woman, and you taught me how to load the dishwasher and clean the counters, and you taught me to help others, so now I get to help you." And sometimes that worked, and she would let me help, and sometimes I was banished to the couch with Margaret, her cat. Change is hard, and it was a new way of life for both of us. And it took some time, but we eventually settled into a pretty good routine. We did almost everything together, cleaning, cooking, laundry, daily walks, bills, and anything else that needed to be done. Alzheimer's is sometimes referred to as the longest goodbye, mainly because between diagnosis and death, this disease slowly takes away the person's identity, their memory, and even the basic skills to perform the simplest of tasks. And eventually, it even takes their ability to have a conversation. Watching my mom leave me a little at a time was devastating. But I also realized throughout this time that Alzheimer's was giving my mom blessings. For years, my mom was terrified of dogs, but she forgot that. So she happily kissed the Mastiff down the road on the nose and proceeded to pet every dog we came across on our daily walks. She was also not one to enjoy being outside very much because that's where the bugs live. But anytime I asked her to come on small hikes with me, she would gladly join. My mom wasn't the artsy type, but anytime I approached her with a handful of craft supplies and a smile, she gladly obliged. We painted rainbows for the 518 Rainbow Hunt. We made wreaths and Christmas ornaments for the neighbors and even painted pottery. My entire life, I watched my mom be concerned about how others felt about her. Alzheimer's took away those fears. She let me dress both of us in blow-up costumes and walk around the neighborhood and entertain the kids. Hers looked like she was riding on a dinosaur, and mine looked like I was riding on an elephant. We had a glow-in-the-dark dance party. A family member ended up posting, and it went viral, and I can't tell you how much I enjoyed coming and telling my mom every day how many likes we got and reading her the great comments that people wrote. We visited local farms for baby animal days, and we went rock mining, and Mom even petted the stingrays at the aquarium. And when given the choice between a hayride or a horseback ride, my mom fearlessly chose the horse. Eventually, numbers became very hard for my mom. This particular challenge gave us some absolutely hysterical game times. Mom skipped spaces, jumped corners, and even kidnapped other players' pieces. And of course, she always made the rules. Having trouble with numbers also resulted in some other funny things, like when she blew up eggs in the microwave when she put them in for 37 minutes. And of course, because she couldn't tell time anymore for my mom, it was always time for ice cream. So I could spend the entire night sharing all the incredible, joyful memories this disease gave to my mom and me, but there were really tough times too. Eventually, Alzheimer's took away my mom's ability to walk and to communicate. She was incontinent and slept most of the day. Hospice was eventually called, and our living room became a makeshift hospital room. We placed our bed in front of the window so my mom could see the world outside. She watched the neighbors on their walks and the kids playing in the street. In time, my mom forgot how to chew and even eventually how to swallow, and we knew the end was near. We kept her as comfortable as possible, and the family and I spent every waking moment we could being next to her. My mom passed away on August 2nd, 2022 at 3:02 in the morning. I spent the next hour bathing my mom's body. I washed her hair, I curled her hair, I changed her clothes, and I even covered her in her favorite Shalimar perfume. My mom always wanted to be presentable, so even if it was the funeral home coming to pick her up, this was the last gift I could give to her. My grief in that moment was immeasurable, but so was my sense of relief. She was no longer suffering, and my caring for her was done. These feelings got all mixed up with guilt and remorse. Guilty for feeling the relief, and remorse for all the times caregiving wasn't perfect. The time I raised my voice, or said something in frustration, or even lost my temper. I had to learn to accept these feelings and remember that I did the best that I could with what we were given. Some people think that grief is something that you get through, but I've come to realize that it's something that becomes a part of you. Grief is the price of love, and boy, did I love my mom. After my mom passed, it took about 4 months for me to even feel human again. 4 months of sleeping a lot, learning to care for myself again, getting counseling, and getting back to spending time with family and friends. In the months after she passed, I knew I needed to be active in my grief. I put up an Alzheimer's tree at the Schenectady Historical Society in honor of my mom. The tree was covered in purple lights and purple ornaments, and I put educational Alzheimer's pamphlets under the tree in hopes of helping others. I also had an ornament hung on the Christmas hospice tree that year, and her name was read at their Christmas ceremony. It was also very important to me that I continue the traditions that my mom had started. Making Christmas treats for all the neighbors, we baked for our local bank, her financial advisor, and even all of our local restaurants. My mom left an imprint of light and love on anyone she came in contact with, and it was beautiful. In January of 2023, feeling a little human again, I got in my car and drove to the Alzheimer's Association and walked in and asked what I could do to help. They went over several options for volunteering, and I decided to sign up to run caregiver support groups. These groups have been an integral part of helping me through my grieving process. I get to share the knowledge I gained on my caregiving journey with others, and I also get to emotionally help others with the many feelings that you go through when caring for someone with dementia. I feel truly lucky to be even a small part of the Alzheimer's Association. This disease took away the most important person in my life, my mom. The loss was immeasurable and extremely hard, but I can honestly stand here today and tell you that I gained so much on this journey. I got 3.5 years of spending every single day with my mom. I got to know her as an adult. I learned how my mom affected everyone she came in contact with and the imprint that she left on others. I gained a level of patience I never knew I had. I also gained an incredible amount of knowledge, not only about Alzheimer's and dementia, but about legal and financial issues, medication treatment, and eventually even end-of-life care. But the biggest lesson learned through all of this was frame of mind. I could choose to see the bad, or I could choose to find even the smallest amount of good on even the toughest days. I learned to find the light walking along a path of darkness. So I will leave you with a piece of advice that my grandfather shared with me when I was a young girl, that even a pile of shit can be warm on a cold day. It's all about perspective.
This song is for Barbara. Oh, the weight of diagnosis in a cool fluorescent room. How life rearranged around us at the start of losing you. We were trading roles and starting over. Some nights you were scared to sleep, but for every fading layer there was a blessing underneath. Blowing up the eggs in the microwave, holding out your hand to a stingray, casting off the weight of what people might say. You were so unafraid, and I relearned you from different angles. In the last light, you were just as beautiful. I'm in pieces, but somehow thankful for the longest goodbye. We sing You Are My Sunshine and Tennessee whiskey. Going in the dark, we were dancing freely till we moved the bed by the window in the living room. And when you took your final breath in the stillness there, I knew That hour was my last parting gift to you. Bathe you in my love and Shalimere perfume. It was the privilege of a lifetime to care for you. In those final days, I relearned you from different angles. In the last lie, you were just as beautiful. I'm in pieces, but somehow thankful for the longest goodbye. And they say grief is the price of love, and your love wrapped itself around everyone. Home away from home at the Glenville Queen. No such thing as strangers in the life you lead. Every single person in your world cried when they heard you were gone. I relearned you from different angles. In the last lie, when it was more than I could handle, I was in pieces, but somehow thankful for the longest goodbye. And now when someone hurting asks me how to make it through, I tell them, let it change.